guys. I can see you slowly coming into the room. Nearly 200 of you already. So we'll just wait a minute. Hi, lovely. Just be great if you could just write in the chat window really quickly where you're from. And even maybe just tell me a little bit about who you teach. So do you teach adults or young learners? Great. Lots of people from Greece, as I'm seeing now. Or we've got people from other countries as well. Some people there from Romania. Wonderful. We're already up to 230 people in the room. I'm going to wait a minute before the room fills. It does take a while for the room to fill before we start. Okay. So lovely to see everybody. A lot more and more people coming in now. Wonderful. We're already up to 241 attendees. I'll just wait a couple more minutes before we get going. When they open up the room in Zoom, it does take a little while to fill the room up. So lovely to see so many of you here. And I can see that from all over Greece. Incredible. I just saw there popped up one of the islands, Naxos. I think I saw a one earlier that was from Crete, where I used to live. I've seen a few from Thessaloniki, where I also used to live. Lovely. So we're nearly up to now. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes and then we'll get going. Okay. So I know it's going to wait a couple of seconds, but it'll be great to just make sure that the room's really full and that we've got a good number of attendees into the room. Okay. It looks like we're getting up towards 300. Okay. Skopelos as well. I've been there. I lived in Crete for about 7 months. That was my very first teaching job in Rethymnon, in the Marangaki School of English. And then I spent about 9 months in Thessaloniki. I traveled quite a lot when I was in Greece. I went over to I went down to the, I went over to Zakynthos. I was obviously on the island of Crete. And I've been to Rhodos and I've been to Lesvos. I've been to Skopelos. Skiathos, so traveled around quite a lot. Yes, been to Volos as well, actually. Great. We've got people from other countries. I won't forget you all. Okay, so we've got people coming in from Germany and stuff as well. All right, just going to wait 1 more minute, guys, and then we'll start. Okay, because there's still fairly people coming in at the moment, just a few more, and then we get going. What we're planning on talking about today is basically teaching online. Okay. Right, so we're nearly touching 300. As I said, I would give it 1 more minute. We're just about to get started. Still got people coming in. They're still all coming into the room. So we're up to 300 nearly now. So let me begin the presentation. I want to try and make this hands-on if I can. I'm looking at myself. I need to be looking at the camera, guys. So see you all there. Can you hear me okay? Can you just write in the chat window if you can hear me nice and clearly? Just want to make sure. Okay, I'm going to try my best to make this hands-on. Okay, we should be able to do it with 300 people in the room. So I'm going to screen share now. I'm going to jump over to my screen share. And the first thing that I'm going to open up onto the screen, brilliant that the sound is good. Well done. I'm just going to jump over to here, jump back to the beginning of my presentation. We'll start really quickly with the presentation, and then we're going to do some hands-on work. I'm just going to minimize that, because I know that otherwise, and I'm going to move that out of the way up there. So I'm doing a talk today about assessment and evaluation when teaching online. Express Publishing have been very kind to actually sponsor this talk, but it's not really a commercial talk. So I wasn't obliged to do anything commercial. I have a great relationship with Express Publishing. It's one of my favorite publishing companies. And I already said to them, listen, there is something I want to highlight, and I'm going to highlight it today, but this really is a very practical talk for you guys about evaluation and assessment. Hopefully quite a lot of you know me. I will introduce a little bit about myself towards the end. I'm Russell Stannard. I run a pretty popular website called teachertrainingvideos.com, and it helps teachers to use technology in their teaching and learning. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about it towards the end. Now, what I want to do today is look basically at the whole area of assessment and evaluation. I want to make it really practical. So I'm actually going to do things live so that you can experience them. We'll have a very quick talk about assessment, and then we're going to jump into actually using some tools, and I'm going to try and do some actual live things during this session, okay, to make it interesting for you. And to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to just give me a little feedback on how you are struggling or dealing well, depending on each person, with technology as we're kind of going through this period at the moment. And I'm just going to click on this button here, jump over to the share, and I just want to make sure, just let me just check here that you can see the right screen. Okay, so I've got a screen open called Padlet, okay? So I'm just going to be making sure I'm sharing the Padlet. Here it is. Padlet is a great free technology that you can use to collect people's ideas really quickly. And it's absolutely brilliant if you are teaching in an online context and you want to take a break from the lesson and check their understanding or check if they're following you. And I can just come over to Padlet. It's free, padlet.com. I'm going to give you some help videos at the end to use Padlet. I'm going to click on Make a Padlet, and I'm going to click this one here, Select. Okay, and that's going to open up a Padlet, and I'm just going to write a question here, and the question I'm going to say, what for you is the biggest problem with teaching online? So I'm just writing a really simple question. Okay, I'm going to click on Next, and that's going to, yeah, and now I can click on Start Posting. Now, all you need to do, I'm going to give you the link, is you double click on the screen, you write your name at the top. So I'm going to write Russell, and I'm going to say, the biggest problem for me is that I don't know my students as well. Okay, so that's my first comment. As you can notice, it comes straight onto the screen. So I'm going to share this link with you. So I'm just going to copy that link. I'm going to come back and stop sharing now. I'm going to share the link in the window, and you either copy the link and then minimize Zoom and go to the website and just click on the screen and write your answer. Or you might be able to now I think they've updated Zoom, you can actually click on the link on the screen. I'm just going to put that in the window. Okay, so you should be able to click on that link, and that should allow you to open up Padlet. If not, just copy it and then minimize Zoom and go to the website. Yeah. Okay, and hopefully you should be able to click on the link and write your answer. Okay, so the idea is I'm going to collect together all of the answers. I've been putting the link into the, let me just put it into the screen, make sure it goes to all panelists and all attendees. There it is. Sorry, I was sending it to the wrong people. There it is. Sorry. Okay, all the panelists and all attendees. There's the link. Click on that link, and then just click on the, when it opens up, click on the screen and write your name, and then tell me what your biggest problem is. I'm just going to give you a minute to get your ideas together. Okay, so let me just have a quick, I can actually watch you doing this, and I can see loads of you already writing. I've got Demetrius, Ursula, Maria, Russell, Georgia, Lulu, Peggy, or Katerina, yeah, Anka. People are writing, Nicole, Maria, Ursula, Ganda, Bursu, Nick. I've got loads and loads of people. You're all writing on the screen. Just tell me what is the biggest problem for you, okay? Now, obviously, I'm doing this with a really big class because there's more than 300 of you on attendance in this presentation. If you're in a lesson with your students and you want to quickly check, do they understand? Are they getting the message? This is a great technology to use. You just ask a question and see if you get the feedback you want. Very quickly, you can get your ideas together, okay? It's a free technology and I use it a lot. Often I use it because I want to slow the lesson down. I want to take a break, get the students to do some writing, and then I'll come back afterwards because I can open it up and share it with everybody, okay? Okay, so it's really, really easy to use this technology. I'm just going to give you one more minute and then I'm going to look at what you've produced. So let me have a quick look. I can see now hundreds of you writing on the screen. It's getting, okay, a little bit crazy. Don't forget you're meant to write your name at the top and then write your answers, okay? Brilliant, absolutely amazing. Okay, this is a lovely technology to think about using. Okay, just give you one more minute because we've got a lot to get through today and I want to do lots of actual live things with you. Okay, so just give you one more minute and see if what you've done, okay? So hopefully now most of you have written into that screen, okay? Let me show you. Can we just get everyone to come back? Don't worry, guys. I'm going to give you all help at the end for everything. Don't worry. Everything is prepared. There's a handout for you with videos to show you how to use all the technologies I'm going to show you, okay? Let me just show you. Just click on your screen to submit the response, okay? Can I ask you to stop a minute so you can all focus on me, because I'm going to screen share and show you what that looked like. And if I click on screen share now, I can see hundreds of you have been writing on the screen. This is a really quick way of collecting feedback or checking students' understanding. I can see many of you have written. Please stop now, otherwise you're going to miss the presentation, okay? Many of you can see on the screen, many of you have written onto the screen, and slowly the information will come back to me, okay? Now, I'm going to quickly show you how I did that, just very quickly before I move on. So all I needed to do, okay, if I come back, is I simply went to Padlet. Okay, Padlet is a free technology. And then from Padlet, I simply clicked on Make a New Padlet. And then I can choose the type of Padlet I want. I can also moderate if I want. I just give it a title here. Simple as that. I can come down here. If I'm worried about students writing anything inappropriate, then I can click on Requires Approval. And that just means that you can quickly read everything that's on the screen and then approve it or not. If you want to do that, you can. Anyway, once you've done that, once you've done it, you just click on Finish, and then the students, then you share this link with the students, okay? So I use this a lot to check understanding. Very important when you're teaching online to be able to quickly check understanding, okay? So coming back to the talk, when you teach online, think carefully about how you can connect what people do at home with what they do in the class. Essentially, when you teach online, there are two things. There's the platform you might use at home for the students, okay, like Edmodo or Moodle or It's Learning, or you might use one of the publishing companies' platforms, okay, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Or you need to have that kind of that content at home, but also you need to have the activities that you're going to do in the live session. So you've always got this relationship between what the students are doing at home and what they're doing in class. And what you really want to do is to kind of get them to flip their classes, so that you've got them to do something at home in preparation for the live session, so that the live sessions can be a little bit more interesting. So what I tend to do when I'm planning online is think very carefully about the relationship between the homework and what I'm going to do when I'm teaching online. Now, teaching online, particularly in terms of feedback and assessment, is quite difficult, because when we teach online in a normal situation, we can see, when we teach in a normal situation, sorry, we can see the faces of the students. We can kind of judge if they've understand what we've said. We can ask quick questions to check understanding. When we teach online, it's much more difficult to do that. We can't see our students so much. Yes, we can see them on the screen, but often if you've got big classes, that's quite a challenge. So what we can do is we've got to think about more formalized ways of setting up the checking of understanding. And that's why I use technologies like the one I just showed you to check, did they follow what I said? So I'll set a question. Okay, guys, write your answer. Okay, what do you think about what I've said? Okay, just summarize what I've said. So I do these little activities where I send them off to Padlet. There are other technologies as well, as a quick way of checking understanding. It's not formal, it's just a quick way. Now, when we're thinking about checking understanding, we always think about it in two ways, really. We've got the assessments that are informative. That is, we're checking, do they follow us? And we often use those to help the students understand what they might need to do, but also to let the teachers know what they might need to do. So we always have a kind of formative assessment, but then we also have summative assessment. That's very much at the end, checking, did they understand everything that we've covered in the lecture, okay? So we kind of got both types of both types of assessment that we need to be thinking about when we're teaching online. I'm going to try to focus on both if I've got time. So we're thinking about formative and a summative assessment. We're thinking about, particularly with formative assessment, checking, did they understand? Have I taught this in the right way? Do I need to re-explain it again? And helping also the students to understand the same thing as well. So the tools that I use for quick check are often things like Answer Garden, which is another one. We won't have time to look at Answer Garden today, but it's another one that I often use, very similar to Padlet. And Padlet is one that I use a lot. Quick questions. Don't forget, you can also do things within the system you're using. So if you're using Zoom or you're using Microsoft Teams or you're using Google Meet, make use of the things that they offer. For example, the chat window, getting students to turn on their audio and reply. Some systems, like for example, Click Meeting, have little quizzes that you can do. You can throw out questions to students. You really need to think much more carefully about the assessment when you're doing the assessment, okay? You really need to plan it more when you're teaching online. Now, when I'm doing more formal assessment, I really want to check with a quiz or an activity. One of the ways I can do this is with Google Forms, and I'm going to show you Google Forms. Google Forms for formative assessment is really useful and something that I use all the time. So I'm just going to jump back again to my technology and I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to jump over to my Google Forms. I'll make sure that you can see this. Let me just double check that you can clearly see my screen. You can, great. So there it is. This is a Google form that I've made really quickly, okay? Now, in this Google form, there's just, I'm asking you to write your name and then watch this video and then answer these questions below, okay? So there's a couple of questions that I want you to answer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you to do this Google form first, and then afterwards, I'm going to show you how I make it, because one of the things about when we create Google Forms is that we can collect together all the answers from the students immediately. So we can use this in a live session. So often I'm teaching and I want to check, did they understand this? Okay. So then I share a Google link and they click on it and answer the questions. Again, it gives me a break. And then when I get the time, I come back, open it up and see what their answers were, okay? Or maybe I do that after the live session. So Google Forms is a great way of checking understanding. I'm gonna click on the send. So once you make a Google form, and I'll show you in a minute how to make them very, very easily. Once you've made them, you click on the send button and you just share this link. So I'm gonna do this with you now. I want you to basically watch the video, and you only need to watch about the first minute because I've only put 2 questions. So just watch the first part up until he gives something to somebody in the audience. You don't have to watch the whole video. And then I want you to answer the questions below. So I'm going to share the link with you to this Google form. To do that, I just click on share. I'm going to make it a bit shorter. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to stop sharing, come back to the window. And again, I'm going to paste that link in. And you should be able to click on the link and do the Google form. So I'm going to send it to you now. There it is. Okay. And then I'll show you afterwards how I did that. I'm going to give you all a minute now to watch the Google form, to click on the Google form, watch the video, and then answer the questions below. Okay. Really simple technology that we can use for assessing students very quickly, either for homework, but also in a session. If you're teaching with Microsoft Teams, or you're teaching with Google Meet, or you're teaching with Adobe Connect, I use this all the time. Did they understand what I was saying? Okay. Yeah, lots of these are useful, okay? I know menti.com as well, very, very good one, okay? Google Forms is good, simply, it's quick, it's easy. The way that you make the quizzes is easy. I'm not saying it's the only one. There are plenty of these around, but I use Google Forms because it also has a lot of other flexibility, okay? The video is missing. That shouldn't be the case. The video should be there. Is that missing for everybody? I don't think that the video should be missing. It should be in there. Can I just check that? Does anyone else not have access to the video? That might be an internet. Yeah, no, it's there. I think that might be because of your internet connection. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Brilliant. Just watch the video and answer the questions. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. So I'm just going to turn off my video for 1 minute and I'm going to see what you're doing. Again, I can open up Google in the background. Let me have a quick look and I can actually see what you're doing. So I've got it open and I'm watching you guys now and I can already see that 31 of you have answered the question. So very quickly, see, I can get back the information and I can see whether you got the answers wrong or right, maybe what I need to teach again, etc. So a really fast way of me collecting information and checking your understanding. 54 of you have now completed that Google form, okay? Now it's jumped up to 66. Going to give you about another minute. Now, I'm doing this with a class of 300. I'm sure most of you haven't got classes of 300. If I can do this with 300, you can easily do something like this with 30 people in the class. It does get difficult if people are accessing on their mobile phones. I'm not denying that. Unfortunately, this is something that's going to have to change. Okay, you can't really deliver a full learning experience if someone is accessing the content on their mobile. People need a laptop. Even an iPad is not really sufficient. You really do need a laptop to make online teaching and learning effective, unfortunately. I know we've all been kind of tricked into believing it can be done through other devices, and yes, it can. Effective things can be done, but the full learning experience, you really do need to have a laptop computer to really kind of engage with these technologies. I've got 138 of you so far have responded. I'm going to give you 1 more minute, and then I'm going to look at the results and show you the information that comes back to me, and then I'm going to show you how easily I made these tests, okay? One of the nice things about Google Forms, Mentimeter's another one, but Google Forms is it's very flexible. You can use it in all sorts of ways, okay? So let me just come back to the presentation. I can see that a lot of you are involved in that now, yeah? So I'm going to show you now what that looks like to me as the teacher. So you imagine I'm in a class, I've got 30 students, I was teaching them something, or they were watching a video, or I was doing a presentation, or we were going through a reading, and now I'm just checking their understanding. So simply, if I click on screen share and I come back to my Google form, so I've just got it onto the screen. Let me just see where I've put it. Sorry, I've lost it for a minute. Let me 1 second. Let me just make sure I've got it open in the background. Otherwise, I won't be able to show it to you. Sorry, guys. Just make sure I've got it open on the screen. Good, good, good. Lovely. So come back into the screen share. I should be able to share it with you now. So let's just come back on. Here it is. Lovely. So here's the Google form. I can see that 168 of you have responded. I can click there and I can see exactly how I can even go and look at the questions. Did you get the questions right, or did you get the questions wrong? And it gives me a breakdown of your responses. I can look at individual students and see what you put and whether you got, I can look at, for example, the first student here and see if they got it right or wrong. So really, really easy for me simply to just check their understanding. It even gives me a breakdown of the average number of points that students got, and whether they got most questions right or wrong. I can see that a couple of people, 11% got the first question wrong, 11% said lion, 24% said computer, but 80% got the answer right. It was obviously his pens. And the second one, what did he throw into the audience? Well, 83% of you got that right. So this gives me great information about things that I need to teach. So do I need to teach this again? Well, probably not. The number is really high. So it looks like, you know, that most of you have followed the video and understood the question. Okay, I should have put a question mark in there, guys. I missed that. I just realized that. So Google Forms is a quick way in a lesson of collecting information about your students. So if we're trying to do formative assessment, we can use Padlet just for check general understanding. If we want to know something specific, we can make a Google form. Now let's have a quick look at how you make a Google form. Google Forms is free if you have a Gmail account. I'm just going to jump over. I've actually prepared a video for you. So I'm going to screen share again. I'm going to have to come over to my videos now. So 1 second while I set this up. I'm obviously screen sharing lots of different things on the screen, but I should be able to do this. I'm just going to jump by and let me just come over. And this is the one I want to play to you. I'll screen share it in a minute. I'm just getting it ready. Okay, right. So we can actually come back to the stop share in a minute. I'm just going to screen share and make sure that the audio is on for you. Very important. I'm going to show you how I make a Google form. And what I can do as well is I'll make that a bit bigger so you can see it. Let's just play this video for you. Making a Google form is really easy. Just go to your Google Drive. So you do need a Gmail account. Click on your drive and then come down, click on New, More, Google Forms. Now, the best thing to do is to first of all give yourself a name your form. So I'm going to call this Express Presentation, okay, video. And if I click here, that will also become the name of the file. And then the first thing that I'm going to want to do is ask the name of the student. So I'm going to write name and surname. And that type of question that we're going to ask, the very first one, is just going to be a short answer question. Now we need to add a video. So we're going to come down to here and click on add video. And if we just do a quick search and we write for funny presentation in the window here. So just go in here. You can search literally for any YouTube video you like. If you've got the URL of the video, it's obviously easier to find. There it is. I'm going to click on that, click on select. Now, all I need to do is start to ask the questions, but what I'm going to write here is watch the video and answer the questions below. Simple as that, and now I can begin to ask the question. So I click here, and the first question that I'm going to add going to be simply multiple choice. I'm going to put the question, what did he drop on the floor? Oh no, what did he knock off the table? Knock off the table. Did he knock off the table a lion, or the lion that he's got there? Or did he knock off the table his computer? Or did he knock off the table his pens? Now the correct answer is pens. Now when we do a Google quiz, we need to do one thing. We need to come up to this button here, click on quizzes and set it to make this a quiz. So click on save. Now we can put in the answers. So we click on answer key and we say the correct answer is his pens. We'll give it 5 points for that, and let's give them some feedback. So if you get the answer wrong, we'll say no, it was, sorry, his pens. And if it's a correct answer, I'm just going to write well done. So we've now done the first question. Now let's ask another question. So we're going to click on plus again. We'll do one more question, and we're going to say what did, we'll keep it in the past, what did he throw into the audience? Okay, what did he throw into the audience? And we're going to put pens, or a pen, a book, or did he throw into the audience his lion? Remember, he's got a pet lion, or not a pet lion, but a toy lion. And then again, we need to put the answer key. So we click here, we're going to say that the correct answer is that he threw a pen into the audience. We're going to give it a total of 5 marks. And then again, we need to put the feedback. So we're going to say a pen. For incorrect answer, we're going to say no, sorry, it was a pen. And if they put the correct answer, we're just going to say well done. Now I'm doing this very quickly. We could add links, we could write more feedback. We can ask questions that have got pictures as well. So I won't do that, but just to show you, if I clicked on plus, you do have the option to add a picture to the options. And you also have the option of adding a picture to the question as well. So you can use pictures. Now I'm going to delete that last question. We've now got 2 questions on the screen. I want my students to answer these questions. I would click on the send button, very simple. Click on link. You can make it a little bit shorter by clicking here. And then just share that link with the students. You can do that online during the session if you want to take a break from your lesson and get some focus on checking their understanding. Or, of course, you can do it as part of the homework. Now, when the students answer the questions, you will click on responses and you will see all of the students' responses. Yeah. Yes. Lovely. Sorry, guys. Thank you. You're brilliant. Thank you for your help. Yes. So sorry that I forgot to put the question mark. I was doing that too quickly, and therefore I didn't think what I was doing. I wanted to make sure that I kind of showed you. I just wanted you to see how easy Google Quizzes is, Google Forms, and that you can use it in different ways. It really is a technology that if you learn to use, you'll realize, because it can also be used for collecting surveys, information, checking, like, for example, how are you getting on at the end of the module? Did you understand everything? So you can use it in loads of ways, and I use it all the time. It's free, it's easy to use, it gives you back immediate data, and it puts all the data in graphs as well, which makes it absolutely fantastic. All right, so we've looked now at Padlet. That's a great way of giving feedback to students and collecting information about them and checking their understanding. And we've also looked now at another technology that I use all the time, Google Forms. And these are technologies that I continually use, both in a blended learning context but also in a online context as well. So Google Forms is really great. There are other technologies that you can use for checking understanding and online. I've been testing Kahoot and Summative, and you can use those as well. And another one that not so many people know about is Flipgrid. So in Flipgrid, you can record a question and then share a link with the students, and the students record their answers to that particular question. So that's another brilliant technology that we can make use of. And actually, in the handout I'm going to give you at the end, Flipgrid is something to really look into, because it's getting the students to record their answers rather than write them. So that might be an option. I don't use Flipgrid so much, or I haven't used Flipgrid in a teaching in a live session. I would use it more to collect information after the lesson, or maybe before. Remember, I've talked about this connection between the two parts. Now, another really important thing, and I just want to spend a bit of time doing this. It was one of the reasons why I said to Express Publishing, look, I'd like to do this talk, because see, many of the publishing companies, and we're obviously going to look at DigiBooks, which is the Express Publishing one, they have platforms, and these platforms that have been developed allow us to really quickly set assessments for our students. So often the problem with working with things like Google Forms is that you have to make the quizzes, you have to make the assessments. Now, wouldn't it be good if we could simply click on a few buttons and tell the students what we want them to do for homework, and it was all on a pre-prepared platform? So with DigiBooks, you can connect the students and the teacher together on the DigiBooks, and then the teacher can simply select the activities that they want the students to do for homework. The students can then go home and do those activities, or they could do them in an online session. You could stop, say, right, go to your DigiBook and do this activity. So you can set the activities that you want your students to do. And then all of that is tracked. So the next day you can look and you can see, well, did the students do the homework, etc. So these platforms, and they've all got them, but DigiBooks from Express Publishing is one that really focuses on making it easy to set the homework. These platforms could be a big game changer. In reality, most teachers, including myself, up until now, we've not made much use of the platforms. We've got our book in the classroom and we've generally not connected to the platforms. But now more and more people are doing it. I have Polish classes and my teacher sets my homework on the platform that my book is connected to. And it really makes it interesting, because she can say to me, right, I want you to do this, this, and this. And she knows if I did the homework or not. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit about DigiBooks, because I really do think there's something for you to think about. It's a major time saver. It literally means you could be doing the lesson, setting the homework, off to go, the students do it, you're all connected on that platform. So it's a really useful way of connecting the lesson together. Let me just jump back, okay, to where we were before. So I've just got to get this right, because I want to play a video with you again now. I'm jumping around so many screens, guys, that let me just get this one lined up for you, all right? So I just want to show you the potential of DigiBooks. Let me just make sure that you can see that. So I'm just going to click on New Share. Yes, you can. We've got the audio on. I'm just going to take you a really quick tour of the potential of DigiBooks, those kind of technologies that we can use, okay? If you're a teacher and you're looking to kind of make sure that your online teaching is organized, that you can give students homework easily, that's homework connected to what you're teaching in the class, then I really do think that making use of these platforms is a great idea. And Express Publishing have a platform called DigiBooks. We're going to look at this just very quickly and show you what it does. So basically you've got access to the books, so you'll have all your DigiBooks here. You can connect them to your classes, and what that means is that you can actually, for example, click on a book. Let's perhaps go on to the workbook here. So I'm just going to click on read more, and then let's read that online. It opens up the book, and then immediately I can begin to access the content in this book. So I could go to any particular page with an exercise, and if that's an exercise, for example, that I want my students to complete, for example here they've got to simply drag the correct adjective or nationality into the box. These activities, what we can do, and this is really powerful, we can of course check them, see what our score is, but we can actually set to add this to a particular class. If our classes are connected to us, then we can choose a class, and then we can, for example, I can say, right, for class A, I want to give them this particular piece of homework, and then I click on assign, and that means all of the students in class A will have that homework to do. And this will include readings. For example, here we've got a reading followed by an activity. The students, of course, when they do their activities, can check and see how many they got right, and all of that information is tracked for the teacher as well, so you even know who has done or hasn't done the exercises. If you're a teacher, okay, well, hang on. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to turn that video off again because it started again. Sorry. Right. Okay. So I really think that those technologies have got a lot of potential. Hang on a minute. I've just lost you all. Sorry about that. 1 second. Where's that gone? Oh, what happened there? Sorry, something's gone. Oh, right. Okay, lovely. Okay, sorry guys. Right, so I really think that those platforms have got potential. They could really take a lot of pressure off you if you can connect your students to them. Obviously, you're going to need to learn to do that. Some of you will have access to these platforms, and they really could make your life a lot easier. So you haven't got to keep making all the content. The content is there, and you can set it for homework for the students to do. So we've looked a lot now at formative assessment. I've showed you Padlet. I've showed you Google Forms. I've mentioned a couple of other technologies which I'm going to give you help for. But for the last bit, I just want to talk about something that you might want to think about in the long run. So what I'm going to tell you now is a little bit advanced, but I want to kind of give you a bit of an idea. Someone like myself that's been teaching online for 20 years. I don't do only online, but I've been teaching. I did my first online courses way back. Is that when I'm doing summative assessment, I actually do what we call an e-portfolio, and I'm really going to quickly show you an example of an e-portfolio. I'm just going to come back and talk about it very quickly. So that's DigiBooks that we talked about. Sorry, just going to get that off the screen, guys. Just want to come, but what I do for summative work is e-portfolios. That is, as my students are working through the course, so they're doing activities with me online using Padlet, using Google Forms, I get those students to put the things that they create into an e-portfolio and to reflect on it and write about what they've been doing. So let's say we've had a discussion in the classroom, and perhaps we've done that in the form of a chat, or we've used a Google Doc, or we've used a Google slide. I get the students to put the things that they create, that they've worked on collaboratively or worked on individually, into one place, which is Google Sites, and then they reflect on what they've done. Now, this is an advanced idea. It's called e-portfolios. It's something that the EU is pushing. It's something that's used in universities a lot. And I have to say, for me, it took a long time, but it's become one of the most successful types of assessment that I've ever done. And I'm going to show you really quickly just a couple of examples of what I mean. I've got permission from some of my students to show you what they've done. So I'm going to just quickly jump over again to let's see if I can get to the right page again. So I'm just going to come over here. I just want to get rid of that. I know I'm going to have to reshare. Don't worry, guys. I just want to make sure I get to the right screen. And hang on a minute. So I'll be with you in 1 second. I'm just going to open up this in the background to get it ready and just going to show you. So let's double click on that one. This will be an excellent example. Right, so I'm going to do a new share. Just make sure you can all see. 1 minute. Sorry guys, I've got so many windows open on the screen. Let me just let me just just close down a couple of windows and then I'll be with you. Let me just get this right, 1 second. So let me just, hopefully I can open it, shared with me. So what I want to do is I want to actually show you what an e-portfolio looks like. So I'm going to open this one up on the screen here. 1 second. Right, that's opened. Now I'm going to screen share it so that you can see it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is a student that's done an e-portfolio for me. Okay, so what that student does is I have a reflection section, and in the reflection section, they're writing about the lessons they did with me. Now, this particular example is teacher training. So this teacher is working with me, and each session they do, they write about their experience. You obviously wouldn't expect your students to write so much, but basically they're putting in their comments on the lesson. And also they put in examples of the things that they've created with me. So they've created Google Forms and they've created screen captures and they've done Quizlets, etc. Now I've tried a similar idea when working in English. You don't have to get the students to put everything into the e-portfolio, but the powerful thing about an e-portfolio is that it shows a record of your students' learning throughout the term or throughout the academic year. And I think for me, I found it very useful as a way to do summative assessment. It started with me just keeping very simple diaries. So my students were keeping very basic diaries. And then it increased to become something where my students were actually not just writing a diary, but adding content into their diary as well. So my feeling is that these technologies can be really useful in terms of us trying to assess our students in a formative, in a summative way. So I tend to use e-portfolios. Now, I'm not suggesting that you would definitely want to do that. I'm going to give you some videos to show you how I've done it and to give you some ideas about what I've done. But I have to say, it's been a long journey, but for me, it's been very successful. The technology that I use to do these e-portfolios is called Google Sites. Really simple technology to use, okay? One of the reasons that I like this so much is because it means that the assessment is bedded into the learning. So as the students are working with me and they're making videos or doing writing or doing exercises online, they can put them into their e-portfolio and write about them. What did you learn from this experience? What would you do if you did it again? What did you cover in today's lesson, etc.? What abilities have you now developed? So these kind of reflective questions, an e-portfolio always has two parts, the reflection and examples of the content. So in summary today, what I've tried to do is first of all say to you, yes, look, assessment online is tough. Make use of the tools that the webinar tool offers you. So you can use the chat window. We've used it a little bit today, but we could also, if we had a small group, be using audio. We can set up little quizzes. Often you can do that in Zoom, for example. But technologies that can really help you are things like Answer Garden or Padlet. They can really support the checking of understanding very quickly. So those are technologies worth learning. Just a few of those will really help you. Remember that it doesn't have to be that the assessment is always in the class. Think about that connection between what you're asking the students to do for homework and what you're asking them to do in the class. Really think about these platforms. We've kind of ignored these platforms in the past, but I think they have great potential. I love the fact that my teacher in Polish uses a platform with me. And I really think if you can look into those platforms, because it's going to make your life easy. You can set homework for the students. They can be tracked. You haven't got to make all of those exercises. Google Forms can be useful. It can be used both for quizzes and surveys. And if you're thinking of something for the future, and I'm not saying that this is easy, it took me a long time, but they're very powerful to do these e-portfolios. Now, what I've done, guys, for you is I've made this special handout. And on this special handout, there's a video that gives you 3 ideas for how to assess online. I also show you how to do an e-portfolio. I also have a video that shows you how to use Padlet and Answer Garden. These are step-by-step videos from my website that show you how to use these. And finally, I'm going to throw in a new video, which I just released yesterday, about Flipgrid, okay? Because Flipgrid has got lots of potential as a technology that you can use for assessment as well, okay? Now, all you need to do to get that handout is just email me, teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. My website is called Teacher Training Videos. Just send me an email, teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. Choose the subject Express Publishing and just say, hello, this is blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. And automatically that video, that handout will come to you. So just teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. Just write the subject Express Publishing. Put just say, hello, this is blah, blah, blah from blah, 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 because I'll just be interested where you all come from. And you can get that handout from me automatically. It will be sent to you automatically, okay? And it will show you some ideas for assessment. It will talk to you and show you examples of how to use a Google form. It actually is a video that shows you step by step how to actually use a Google form, okay? Really, really useful website that in terms of, and where that's going to take you to, just something some of you know, just really quickly. Obviously, my website is teachertrainingvideos.com, and teachertrainingvideos.com offers you loads and loads of free videos on using different technologies. There are some videos there about Zoom and teaching online that have been played more than 250,000 times. So please make use of this website, because absolutely everything is free and there are no tricks. All the videos are free, okay? I make my money other ways, so you can simply make use of that website. I know a lot of people in Greece already use it, but just keep that in mind. I've got one final thing to say, okay? I'm just going to jump really back to the presentation, last thing. So don't forget, teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com if you want that free handout. Obviously, a huge thank you to ELT News. I've worked with ELT News many times before. Brilliant that they've organized such a huge conference. I also want to say hello and a big thank you to Express Publishing. I've had a very strong connection with them. I don't write for Express Publishing anyway, and when I do these presentations, they never oblige me, which I think is amazing, to do anything unless I want to do it. So I'm completely free. So I'm doing that as a little promo, as a thank you to them for all the support over the years. And don't forget, guys, follow my blog on Express Publishing platform. I don't write for Express Publishing, but I do write a blog post, and you'll find it on there. teacherscorner.co.uk. Guys, I'm going to stop there. We were meant to do 45 minutes. I hope there was some useful stuff there. We looked at Padlet, we looked at Google Forms, we talked about the platforms, we talked about e-portfolios. I tried to get a lot of information in there in a really short space of time. It was probably a bit too quick. But if you make use of that handout that I gave you, then you will be able to access videos that are going to help you with all those things. I'm just going to stop sharing, guys, because we're running out of time. And I'm going to say thank you very much. I hope that was useful to you, all right? Cheers, guys. Lovely to see so many people online. All right.